So last year I said that Deepwater Horizon was Peter Berg's best film to date. Well, now it's his second best. Patriot Day tells the true story of the Boston Marathon bombing that occurred back in 2013, where two brothers had two pressure cooker bombs that went off during the Boston Marathon and killed 3 people and injured up to 264 people. And also, this focuses on the manhunt of those 2 terrorists the days following that attack. I personally had huge expectations for this movie. Not only did Deepwater Horizon absolutely blow me away last year and ended up being one of my favorite films of the year, but this is a story that I don't think is too soon to be told, and I really wanted to see Mark Wahlberg and Peter Berg's take on this story. And I'm here to tell you people, this is probably one of the best, most tense, and most respectful cinematic retellings of a tragedy that I've ever seen. Not only does this movie succeed in accurately retelling the tragedy and the horror of the events of that day back in 2013 and the unrelenting pursuit of these 2 terrorists, but it also puts you into the heart and soul of the city of Boston. And alongside the incredible ensemble cast this movie has, Boston itself is one of the main characters of this movie. Speaking of incredible ensemble cast, everybody who is in this movie brings their A game. You can tell everybody who was involved really wanted to do their best at retelling this tragic story of American history. Mark Wahlberg is great yet again. I think he gives an equally good performance as this as he did in Deepwater Horizon, which I thought was one of his best performances he's ever given. J.K. Simmons is great as always. John Goodman returns to again show that this guy has some acting chops that we have not tapped into yet. Kevin Bacon is great as an FBI agent. The 2 actors who played the terrorist brothers do a phenomenal job portraying those 2 characters. Everybody in this movie comes to play. Much like Deepwater Horizon, Peter Berg once again gives you a movie that literally just grabs you by the throat in certain scenes. This guy knows how to deliver tension, and he has found his niche at delivering these true stories. The scenes of the Boston Marathon leading up to the bombs going off was some of the most tense scenes that I've seen all year, and he does really well at not telegraphing when those bombs are going off. Whenever the first boom comes up, you're as surprised as the characters in the movie. The movie does not have this ratcheting up score that kind of lets you know something big's about to happen. There's no camera focusing on a bomb, nothing. You're just watching a marathon go on, and then a bomb goes off. And what Peter Berg does so amazingly in this movie that he also did in Deepwater Horizon is he doesn't over Hollywoodize these scenes. He doesn't try to make them flashy. He just puts you into the shoes of these people. He puts you into that situation. He lets you live in it. He lets you breathe in it. From subtle details like showing whenever the bomb's about to go off, little tiny camera movements across carriages or strollers showing that there's children there and young infants there. Subtle little details like that just puts you into the horror of these scenes. And while I'm talking about subtle details and not over Hollywoodizing things, I thought he did a damn good job at portraying the 2 characters of the terrorist brothers. And while the acts of terrorism that these 2 commit are horrific enough, the movie really intensifies the evil of those 2 people by showing how they react in just everyday situations. Like after the bombing has already gone off, the 2 brothers are watching it on the news, how everything's progressing, who they're looking at, what their suspicions are, and rather than being worried or being remorseful, they're texting on their phones or they're worried about overcooking their Hot Pockets. And small little subtle details like that really succeed in showing you how evil these 2 characters are without Hollywoodizing it up. It really took a lot of balls for Berg to try to humanize these 2 characters, because while on one end usually humanizing means you give the elements of real life that lets you identify with those characters and gives you a little bit of sympathy or gives a little color to their characterization that you didn't see before, while this movie and the humanization just gives you more reasons to hate them and gives you a deeper understanding of how evil these 2 people really are. And while all the actors' performance really delivers in this movie, the way they utilize the characters in the story delivers as well, because there's some characters that you really don't understand their place in the story yet until it gets there. There's people that seem insignificant when stacked up next to Mark Wahlberg's character or John Goodman's character, and then whenever their place in the story is eventually revealed, you're like, oh wow, that's really cool how they did that. That's honestly one of the biggest strengths of this movie, is just the way they use the characters. There's not like a main character, there's not a main performance, there's nobody that's like a vehicle for this movie that you follow the whole time. Everybody plays their part, they all come together to tell this story, to tell the events of this tragedy, and it works to the movie's advantage to do that. Probably the biggest achievement, as well as the most important achievement that this film does, is it pays really, really good tribute to not not only the victims but the heroes of this story. And that's something that Peter Berg is suddenly becoming probably the best director working today when it comes to tribute. From the way that the characters are portrayed, to the way that it shows how much of a tight-knit community that Boston is, to the little monologues at the end from the real-life people who were there at the marathon bombing, as well as involved with the manhunt afterwards. This movie does that flawlessly. So to wrap all this up, guys, not only is this now Peter Berg's greatest film, but this is one of Mark Wahlberg's best performances. I wouldn't be surprised at all if both of those guys got awards consideration this year, but this is one of the best, most tense, and most respectful tributes that I've seen to a real-life tragedy. Filled with great performances and a very un-Hollywood-like approach to this story, Patriots Day is not only one of the best films of last year, but it definitely deserves your attention and a spot on your shelf. So whenever you go out to see this, check it out in theaters and then go out and buy it. So what did you guys think of Patriots Day? Did you get a chance to check this out last year, or did you have to wait till January like I did? What was your favorite performance? What do you feel like was executed the best in this movie? Do you feel like this is better than Deepwater Horizon, or did it not quite meet up to that for you? I know that was one of my favorite movies of last year. Put all of your thoughts on this film down in the comment section below, and we'll talk about it. Please like and share this video, and hit that subscribe button. That way you get to come back and see me next time. But if that's not soon enough to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.